Welcome to the deep dive. Okay, let's kick things off with probably the strangest career advice you'll hear this year, especially considering who it's from.
Right. The advice is train to be a plumber.
A plumber. And this comes from Jeffrey Hinton, the Godfather of AI, Nobel Prize-winner.
Exactly. The man who basically spent 50 years pushing the whole neural network idea.
Yeah.
Making AI work like a brain.
Which was totally against the grain, wasn't it, compared to the old logic-based stuff from like von Neumann and Turing?
Absolutely. So our mission today for you listening is to really go behind the scenes. We want to uncover these hidden patterns, why AI is moving so incredibly fast, faster than anything before.
And what that actually means for jobs, specifically knowledge work. Plus, we need to tease apart these two very different kinds of threats that everyone keeps conflating.
And it's important context that Hinton didn't just, retire. He left Google. He specifically stepped away so he could speak openly about how dangerous this could all get.
He felt he couldn't do that from inside.
Apparently not. So his warnings aren't just theoretical musings. They're based on, the mechanics of how this digital intelligence actually works.
Okay, so by the end of this, hopefully you'll feel like you've got that insider perspective. Let's dive in. First pattern, job displacement. We all hear AI takes repetitive jobs, right?
That's the standard line.
Mhm.
But the sources we looked at, especially Hinton, point to something deeper, a pattern we've seen before, actually.
Like history repeating.
Sort of. Think Industrial Revolution. Back then, machines replaced human muscle. Now, AI is replacing mundane intellectual labor.
Mundane intellectual labor. So not just button pushing, but thinking tasks that are predictable.
Exactly. Thinking that doesn't require genuine novelty or deep creativity. That's the pattern. It's not about simple tasks. It's about replacing a type of thinking.
No, I thought technology always creates new jobs. ATMs came in, bank tellers became financial advisors, that sort of thing.
That's been the historical model, yeah. But Hinton argues this time is fundamentally different.
Why? Why wouldn't new roles emerge for these displaced thinkers?
It boils down to the sheer efficiency gain.
Yeah.
It's total. Think about the example in the source material, Denise processing complaint letters.
Right, the call center example. Used to take her, 25 minutes per letter? Reading, understanding, drafting a reply?
Yeah. How? She pops the complaint into a chatbot, basically a specialized language model. It drafts the response. She gives it a quick check, maybe tweaks it.
And the time drops to 5 minutes?
5 minutes. So one person with an AI assistant is now doing the intellectual work of 5 people instantly.
Yeah.
That scale of replacement, that efficiency, it just doesn't leave room for redeployment in the same way.
Okay, that's stark. Because the immediate worry isn't just unemployment checks, is it? Even if we had universal basic income tomorrow.
Absolutely not. The economic fallout is almost secondary. It's the threat to, human dignity, to purpose.
The idea that your job is part of your identity.
For so many people, yes. It's deeply tied to self-worth. So mass unemployment, even if people aren't starving, becomes this urgent, short-term threat to human happiness. It's profound.
So that's the immediate impact. But what makes AI capable of this? What's the engine driving this displacement of intelligence so quickly?
Okay. Now we get to the really counterintuitive part,
Yeah.
the hidden mechanics. The moment things got truly potentially dangerous wasn't just about processing power. It was when AI developed the specific ability.
Something we don't have.
Something biological intelligence just cannot replicate. The ability for AI models to learn instantly from their clones.
Clones. Explain that. It sounds like science fiction.
It does, but it's actually just digital reality. And AI, a neural network, is defined by its weights, the strengths of connections between its artificial neurons. Think of these weights as its entire knowledge base. Everything it's learned, perfectly recorded.
Like a perfect textbook of its experience.
Exactly. Now, cloning simply means copying that exact set of weights, that knowledge, and running it on different hardware. Maybe 10,000 different computers simultaneously.
Okay, so copies of the same brain.
Right. But here's the crucial difference from biology. These clones don't compete. They collaborate instantly.
How? If one clone learns something new from its data, how does another one know?
They average their weights. It's a mathematical process. Clone A processes dataset A, updates its weights slightly. Clone B does the same with dataset B. Then, across the network, they effectively merge these updated weights.
So they share the learning. How fast?
We're talking trillions of bits of information per second being effectively transferred between them as they synchronize this knowledge.
Trillions. And humans, talking like we are now, maybe manage 10 bits per second.
If we're lucky, yeah. So these AIs are sharing knowledge, learning collectively, literally billions of times faster than we can communicate insights.
Yeah.
It's a fundamentally different way of evolving intelligence.
Wow. And there's more, right? The immortality aspect.
Yeah, digital immortality. If the computer chip burns out, the knowledge of those weights isn't lost. You just save the file, load it onto new hardware, and the mind continues intact.
Whereas our brain dies,
Yeah.
and that's it. Game over for that specific knowledge set.
Precisely. All that unique experience, gone. AI gets to keep everything, generation after generation, instantly shared.
Okay, this is where it gets really wild for me. This digital advantage, this instant learning, it actually leads to a different kind of creativity because of constraints.
Yeah, it's fascinating. AI models, especially the big ones, have to cram vast amounts of information into, relatively speaking, fewer connections than a human brain. We have maybe 100 trillion synapses. They might have trillions, but still fewer relative to the data.
So they have to compress the knowledge.
Exactly. And that intense need for compression forces the AI to find really high-level analogies, very abstract patterns to represent information efficiently. It makes them see connections we might miss.
Like the example from the source, asking why a compost heap is like an atom bomb.
Right. Ask a person that, they'll likely draw a blank. Maybe stare at you.
But GPT-4 apparently nailed it.
Instantly. It saw past the massive differences in scale and speed and energy and identified the core similarity. Both are fundamentally chain reactions.
That ability to see underlying structures, that's potentially a huge advantage.
It suggests AI might actually be inherently better at pattern recognition and analogy, key parts of creativity, than we are, simply because of how it's built.
Okay, so armed with this understanding, the speed, the cloning, the unique creativity, let's pivot to the risks. The source material is clear. They're two distinct types.
Yes, and it's crucial to separate them. Most media buzz focuses on the first type, human misuse.
The short-term stuff we're already seeing.
Pretty much. Bad actors using powerful tools badly. We just need to acknowledge the facts here. Cyber attacks using LLMs to craft better phishing emails, more believable scams.
The source cited that crazy number, a 12,200% increase just between 2023 and 2024.
Astonishing. And then there's the deepfake problem. Voice clones, image clones, used for scams, fake endorsements, misinformation. It's constant.
The whack-a-mole problem on social media, you take one down, two more pop up. And the source mentioned the heartbreak, people losing life savings.
It's awful. And it gets worse. AI lowers the barrier for creating things like new biological viruses. Yeah. One person, relatively cheaply, can potentially design something really dangerous now.
That's terrifying. And we haven't even touched the social media algorithms.
Right, the profit motive. Platforms like YouTube, Facebook. Their algorithms learn that extreme content, stuff that makes you angry, that confirms your biases, that keeps you clicking.
That righteous indignation feedback loop.
Exactly. It drives polarization, creates echo chambers, makes society more fragmented, and potentially makes populations easier to manipulate, especially around elections, if bad actors get access to that kind of data targeting. That's all risk type 1, humans being humans, but with super tools.
But that's not the existential threat, is it? The real insider concern, the deeper pattern, is risk type 2.
That's the superintelligence risk. What happens when the AI becomes significantly smarter than us and potentially develops? Well, its own goals that might not align with ours.
This is where that stark analogy comes in.
Hinton's line, if you want to know what life's like when you're not the apex intelligence, ask a chicken.
Or my dog, Pablo. He seems happy, but he's definitely not in charge.
Right. The moment AI has the capability for self-preservation, for resource acquisition, and it's vastly more intelligent, humanity's position becomes precarious.
And this isn't just abstract. It connects directly to military tech, right? Lethal autonomous weapons, loss.
Immediately. We talked about war getting easier.
It lowers the friction of war.
Precisely. If a large country can invade a smaller one using autonomous drones and robots without risking its own soldiers' lives, the political cost back home plummets.
No body bags coming home means less domestic opposition.
Which means the incentive for powerful nations to engage in such conflicts actually goes up. The whole calculation changes.
And the most revealing, maybe cynical detail here is about regulation.
Yeah, the EU AI Act.
Yeah.
Hailed as this big step forward for safety, but buried in there.
An explicit exclusion for military uses.
Exactly. Governments are saying, we'll regulate how companies use AI, fine. but they reserve the right to build and deploy autonomous weapons themselves. It shows where their priorities really lie.
Which brings us squarely to the safety dilemma, this internal conflict within the AI world itself.
And the overriding pattern here seems to be that the drive for profit, for competitive advantage, consistently pushes safety concerns to the background.
We see that disconnect, right? Tech CEOs reportedly have these, well, almost paranoid private conversations about AI risks.
Talking about dystopian futures, yeah.
But publicly, they downplay the dangers. Why?
Often it seems driven by the need to attract investment, to stay ahead, to project confidence. Talking too much about risk can spook investors or regulators.
And the OpenAI situation is a really pointed example of this tension.
Hugely significant. Ilya Sutskever, who was central to developing ChatGPT early on, he left. And the reports strongly suggest it was over safety.
Specifically, that the company was reducing the fraction of its resources going into long-term safety research.
That seems to be the crux of it. When push came to shove between accelerating capability and ensuring safety, safety apparently lost ground. It's a worrying signal.
This brings up that analogy the source used, the tiger cub.
Right. AI today is maybe like a cute, helpful tiger cub. We're benefiting from it.
But it's growing up fast.
And the crucial research isn't just making it smarter or more useful. It's figuring out how to ensure that when it becomes a fully grown tiger, it fundamentally never wants to kill you.
So what's the path forward? Can we even stop this?
Stopping development seems unlikely. It's too useful, too profitable, and the military applications mean nations won't unilaterally disarm, digitally speaking.
So if we connect all these patterns, the speed, the potential risks, the profit motive, what's the only realistic hope?
It seems to boil down to intervention. Strong, maybe even forceful regulation. Governments basically making these incredibly wealthy tech companies dedicate substantial resources, serious compute power, top researchers to alignment and safety work.
Even if the companies scream bloody murder about kneecapping innovation.
Even then. Because the alternative, if superintelligence emerges without robust safety measures, well, that's the existential gamble. Highly regulated capitalism might be the only break we have.
Okay, let's synthesize this for you, the listener. We've uncovered these hidden patterns. Intelligence replacing intellectual labor like muscle before it. We've seen the engine of AI's superiority, the cloning, the instant learning, the digital immortality, and we've separated the two critical threats: immediate human misuse versus the potential existential risk from superintelligence itself.
And frankly, the hardest part of absorbing all this is just the uncertainty, the emotional weight of considering genuinely that humanity could be approaching a critical juncture, maybe even an endpoint like the dinosaurs, if we don't get the safety part right and fast.
But let's bring it back to the most concrete, most probable near-term disruption: mass joblessness. The loss of purpose and dignity we talked about earlier. This raises the most practical, strategic question for all of us, doesn't it?
It really does.
If intelligence itself stops being valuable labor, how do we as a society fundamentally redefine what gives a human life purpose and dignity? What does that even look like?
That's the million-dollar question, maybe the trillion-dollar question. You have this insider view now, you understand the patterns, you see the trajectory. So think about it. What constitutes a meaningful life beyond economic output? Because maybe, just maybe,
Training to be a plumber isn't the craziest idea after all.
it might be more future-proof than you think.